Throwdown Nation. Welcome to episode 3 of the Throwdown with Matt. We are here and live at a special early time of 4 p.m. Eastern, and it is my pleasure to have with me Mr. Asher Rain. How you doing, Asher?
Good, man. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said before we went live, I've been looking forward to this. I actually had Drew Adler on last night, and
Oh, really?
yeah,
I love Drew.
Drew's a good guy, and he actually spoke highly of you.
Oh,
So
really?
he
Really?
did, yeah.
Hey, I love Drew, man. I've been watching him for years.
Yeah, yeah, we had a lot of fun last night. So if you get the chance later, go back and take a look at the
Oh, yeah.
replay. We really had a good time.
For sure. I'll check it
So
out.
so getting into the meat and potatoes of this whole thing, we'll start with the first and most obvious question. Asher, how long have you been wrestling?
I am brand new to wrestling. I've only been doing this 9 to 10 months. I'm 55 matches in, I believe
Mhm.
so. So like I'm still green. I'm brand new.
Well, that's cool though. I mean, it's it's actually fun to talk to somebody who's brand new to it because everything is still exciting. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, like literally, like I'm still doing a lot of firsts in wrestling, so that's exciting for me.
Oh, absolutely. So, who trained you? How did your training go and all that good stuff?
Well, see, I went to a training school in Bowling Springs, South Carolina, APW. My main trainer was AJ Frost,
Okay.
and I've learned so much under AJ. Like more than just the bumps and everything, it's the psychology and just in ring knowledge. I learned so much from him.
Gotcha. At what point in your life did you know that you wanted to do this?
We see, I've been watching pro wrestling since I was 5, so like it's always been on my head. But as I got older, I realized it could be a possibility. So once I really hit like freshman year of high school, I really started planning like maybe I could do this. So I've been watching wrestling as I was a kid, but high school is really when I really started pursuing it.
Gotcha. Well, something I've been doing with all of these is sort of scattered throughout the chat. We're going to play this thing called Speed Round, where
Okay.
basically I'm going to name a name, and you basically tell me the first thing that pops into your head.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so I've got my list right here. I just got to get to it real quick.
So let's see what you got.
Okay. Speed round, Paul Heyman.
Go.
Yep. Yeah, he just keeps doing amazing work.
Exactly. Like he doesn't have to be with a certain person to have his best work. Like he's doing it with multiple clients he's had
Yeah.
for decades.
Yeah. Yeah, and just to be the guy that brought you ECW.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. Like that, he's a Hall of Famer just for that. Like
oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, he didn't have to do anything else but start ECW, and he's Hall of
exactly.
Fame.
That's
But
iconic
he
in
has
itself.
he has given so much to the industry.
So
You know,
much. So much. I
so
love Paul.
yeah, absolutely. So away from wrestling, Asher, what are some of your other hobbies and interests?
Okay, so I'm a big football, basketball guy. I love watching it. I love playing both. I'm also a big video game guy. Like the 2K, Madden, the new college football game just came out. Like I'm all over all that. I love video games. That's probably my number one thing I do outside of wrestling.
Gotcha. So, is wrestling for you anything approaching a full-time thing, or do you have a day job?
I do have a day job, and I feel like most wrestlers, especially starting out, you kind of have to.
Right.
It is my goal to full time, wrestle. I wouldn't have to do a part time job or anything like that. But yeah, right now I do have a day job, grocery store, nothing exciting.
Oh, hey, everybody's got to do something.
Exactly, exactly. But yeah, the hope is one day full time.
So, do your coworkers know that you wrestle?
Yes, yes. Actually, I just won my first belt a couple weeks ago, and
I
I've been
saw
telling,
that. Yeah,
yeah, I've been telling them once I win a belt, I'll bring it in for you. So the first
yeah.
time I won it, the next day I brought it into work.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw you basically kind of cashed in on a money in the
Yep,
bank type of thing.
yep, yep.
That's pretty cool.
I had to wait for the perfect opportunity, and it worked out. Thank God.
So so I know you're up in South Carolina. What is your actual hometown?
My hometown is a very small town in South Carolina. It's called Reedville, South Carolina. I'm talking
Okay.
like there's maybe 100 people in it. Like it is very small. So but I kind of like that. Everybody knows each other.
Right.
Very small town vibe. I kind of like that.
The nice thing about small towns, well, everybody knows everybody,
Mhm.
which is good if there is a crisis because everybody's going to take care of each other. But the bad thing about a small town is everybody is also in everybody else's business.
Yes, rumors are terrible, terrible. You'll hear some crazy things, and they get spread around so fast.
Yep. Yep. Speed round.
Oh, here we go.
Bret Hart.
Ooh. Underrated.
Yeah.
I say that because like you hear people's goats, and obviously you putting The Rock, Stone Cold, you're putting all of them up there, but like I feel like Bret Hart's name really isn't put up there a lot.
Yeah. I feel, I mean, you know, I I grew up watching Bret Hart, and he's among my tops. But at the same time, I feel like if his career hadn't kind of been cut short the way it was, I think he could have been even greater
Oh
than he's regarded as being.
yes, 100%. It definitely got cut short. I feel like also I always wonder like if he never went to WCW, how different would everything be?
Yeah,
That,
yeah,
that's a big what if.
yeah. There's all kinds of what ifs and rabbit holes you
Oh,
can go down,
oh,
with wrestling history.
million. Yes,
Like what if the NWO had never happened? I mean,
exactly.
uh, because without the NWO and the whole concept of the cool heel,
Yep.
you never probably would have seen Bullet Club or,
No, because that
I
that
mean,
completely changed wrestling. Like that,
oh, it did.
a hundred
It
percent.
did. And I've often wondered what would have happened if the Monday Night Wars had come out the other way and
Yes.
WCW had ended up buying WWF.
I,
I
I
mean,
think about that a lot. I think about that so much. Like,
yeah,
would wrestling still be around? Would it be more popular? Like, who knows? Like, you
yeah.
really never know.
There's all kinds of like I said, rabbit holes you can go
Yeah.
down if you let yourself. So, okay, so tell me about Asher Rain, the the wrestler, and compare and contrast him with everyday Asher. Because they say that the best wrestling personas are yourself turned up to 11.
Yes.
And
That
tell me about all that with your perspective.
look that is 100%. Like, it's really the same person just turned up like a million. Like, as soon as you go through that curtain, like your confidence is through the roof. Like I'm not afraid to admit I'm not the most confident person in everyday life, but once I go through that curtain, like you don't have time to not be confident. Like
Right.
you got fans watching you, you got another wrestler you got to wrestle. Like you don't have time to think about that. So you 100% confident. Like it's crazy. It really is a superpower once you hit that stage.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can't question yourself, and
Nope.
you have to commit.
Yep, it's like zero thought. You just go out there and you go. Like, and if you love it, you have a blast while doing it.
Yeah. So, but how does your in-ring persona, differ from the everyday you? I mean, what do you turn up? I mean, do you usually work heel or face?
I'm babyface.
Okay,
So I'm babyface, but I'm still like cocky at the same time, you know. So like
gotcha.
outside of the ring, I'm not cocky. I don't have a big ego. When I'm in there, you know, I'm champion. I gotta show my ego off, you know. You
Yeah,
know, I gotta talk to the other wrestlers. So you know, the ego is just turned up 100%.
absolutely. So, speed round.
Here we go.
Brian Danielson.
Fantastic. Like I was thinking of a word to describe him, just other than goat, because he's another one that's like just wrestling. He knows, he gets it. Like the wrestling is superior, top tier, and I think that's really shown in AEW. Like he's able to put on those like wrestling clinics that maybe WWE necessarily wasn't letting him. You know, back to the ROH days.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's funny. Drew and I were talking last night, and I had asked him, who his dream opponent would be, and he actually said Danielson,
Oh,
and he was talking about, the whole compare and contrast, the top tier Drew Adler versus, himself.
yes.
And he said the main thing he does is when he goes out to the ring, he basically just drops his filter that he has to have
Yeah.
for everyday life. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
You got to. You got to.
yeah, yep. So, tell me about your very first match.
Okay, when a lot of people talk about their first match, it's all like this incredible thing. Like they think about it all the time. They'll remember it forever. I can't even watch my first match. I wish I didn't remember it. It was terrible, and it wasn't on the other wrestler. I won't say his name. It's on me. Like it went. I didn't know what I was doing. I was inexperienced. You know, it just. Eesh, I hate watching it. I really do. Yeah.
Was the guy that you were working pretty experienced, and could he kind of carry you, or was he kind of still new too?
I believe he was like a year or two in, so he was, you know, a veteran compared to me, of course.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, it was just inexperience on my part, and you know, it is cool to see how I went from that to what I am now. So it is
Oh
cool to see
yeah.
the improvement. But yeah, looking back at my first match, I wish I could forget it, honestly.
Yeah. I get that. So, okay, well, we've found out about the first match. Now, tell me about your favorite match that you've been a part of. I'm guessing it's probably when you cashed in and got the belt.
100%. That is the least amount of work I had to do in a match, but
Yeah.
I was so nervous. Like I was real. Like I hit a crossbody 1, 2, 3. It sounds very simple, but a million things were running through my head. Like you know, what if I don't cash in successfully? You know, what if I don't get this belt? Then I just dropped the briefcase for no reason. But yeah, that it lasted maybe 2 minutes, but that was the greatest 2 minutes of my wrestling life. 100%.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure that had to just be an unbelievable
Oh,
thrill.
it was amazing. And having my dad in the crowd too, somebody who's always supported me through this journey, like
Yeah.
it meant everything to me.
That and knowing that the company had enough faith in you to put the belt on you.
Yeah, so
I
early
mean,
too, because
yeah,
like I'm still early in wrestling, so the fact, yes, they do have the confidence in me meant a lot. Like it really did.
absolutely. Okay, so speed round.
Okay.
Bray Wyatt.
R.I.P. Like I've always been such a big Bray fan. Like I fear a lot of people like they're not huge fans of his promo, like just the way he did his promo. I loved it.
Hmm.
Like as the cult leader, it's not necessarily supposed to make sense, his
Right.
promos. You know, so everybody's like he's rambling, he's not saying anything. that's kind of like what a cult leader would do. He's not always going
Right.
to make sense and everything. So I thought it was brilliant. But
Oh yeah, I mean,
I've always loved Bray.
yeah, I mean, in so many ways, he was ahead of his time,
Yes.
and I mean, I'm really enjoying what they're doing right now with the Wyatt Six.
White City,
If
yes.
if nothing else, it is a great catharsis for Taylor to get to pay tribute to his
Yeah.
brother this way.
Yeah.
And they've Drew and I were talking about this last night.
Mhm.
They've selected a pretty solid bunch
Oh,
of
yeah.
people to comprise that group. I
Yes.
mean, all of those guys are talented. All of them are good on the mic. They can go in the ring.
Exactly. I feel
So
like all their characters fit in the group as well. Like their individual characters just blend so well with that faction. It came perfect. And I'm
yeah,
glad they're letting Bo do something like this for his brother,
me
on a
too.
main stage. I love to see it.
Yeah, same here. Same here. So what has if you can narrow it down to one or two little stories,
Mhm.
what has been some of the most interesting or unusual experiences you've had so far in wrestling?
Ooh, interesting. Okay, I'll go interesting. I had the honor of being flown out to Michigan for a show for Combat One Wrestling.
Oh,
And
that's cool.
just the locker room, I saw like Matt Riddle was in the locker room, Chavo
Oh,
Guerrero was
wow.
in the locker room, Alex Shelley. These are all guys I grew up watching like as a kid.
Yeah.
So, and then seeing Matt Riddle, who's just off the WWE run and everything, and I seen him in UFC too. It was crazy seeing them backstage and just getting to talk to them and pick their brain a little bit. As a kid, like deep down, I was losing it. I was afraid to talk to all of them, especially
Oh,
Chavo.
I'm sure. I'm sure. I have heard that Chavo is one of the nicest people.
Yes, he really
Yeah.
is. He really is, and like he doesn't have to be. Like he's Chavo
No.
Guerrero. He could be.
Yeah.
One of the nicest dudes. Same goes for Matt Riddle. Like I loved talking to Matt Riddle. Alex Shelley was a really dope guy. Just a huge experience, especially this early on. I loved it.
Oh, yeah. That is really cool.
Yes,
Uh,
I had fun.
that is a neat story. Okay, so speed round.
Okay,
AJ Styles.
phenomenal. Yeah, of course. Gotta be. Man, AJ has been killing it for years, decades. Like
Yeah.
I first saw AJ in TNA, of course.
Yeah.
I, as soon as I saw his wrestling style, he could do everything. Like it
Yeah.
was insane. I was automatically a fan. Just like, how could you not be?
Right.
He's doing flips over the top rope. He's doing the Styles Clash. Just everything. Like I love AJ. Still do. He's one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, and to be in his mid 40s and still be wrestling at the high level that he's doing it,
Yes.
man.
Insane.
I
And
mean,
the shape he's in now, this is the best
oh
shape
yeah,
he's ever been in. Like it's insane.
I
I
know it.
don't get it. And he's been all across the world and performed at the top. That's
Yep,
impressive to me. That's very impressive.
it is to have the kind of longevity he has had.
In
You know,
multiple places.
multiple places, and really, I can't remember him really ever having a really serious injury that kept him out for
No,
a long period of time.
yeah,
Anyway,
not really. And that which is crazy seeing all his matches and all the stuff he used to do. Like that's insane that he's never been on the show for that long. That's hard to
Right.
not a lot of wrestlers can say that.
No, very true. Um, so, I mean, this question may not necessarily apply because you haven't been doing this for that long. But what has been the strangest encounter you've had with a fan?
Okay. Like you said, I'm early on. Thank God I don't have a story. I feel like that's a good thing. I'm sure, down the line something's gonna happen. Maybe I'll be back on here to tell you. But yeah, as of right now, thank God I don't have a story.
That's good.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
see if it stays
yeah,
that
because
way.
Because I mean, if you're this early in and you've already got one of those
Oh my
stories,
God. I'm in for a long awakening.
so who would you say are some of your personal influences as a wrestler? You know, who have you tried to sort of model yourself after?
Maybe not necessarily moveset wise as of right now, but RVD. He
Hmm.
he's my favorite wrestler of all time. Just growing up watching him and then going back to watch the ECW stuff he did, his moveset was so innovative. Like
Oh
he was
yeah,
doing stuff way before this was all cool. Like that's what made him stand out to me. He was doing, coast to coast, the 5-star fraud splash, rolling thunder. I don't know why. It's such a simple move to me, but I've never seen anybody do it before. And it really popped me as a kid. I loved it. So that might be my moveset later on. I might I might have to steal that. Also Shawn Michaels.
hmm
Shawn Michaels, just everything about him is perfect in the ring. Facial expression. Obviously his wrestling is top tier. I've always looked up to Shawn Michaels. Super kick. I
yeah.
want to get a super kit just like him. Everybody does a super kit now, but that's the OG. You can't get better than a Shawn Michaels, sweet chin music.
Yeah, when he would load that boot up.
Yes,
And-
it's over.
yep.
The one he hit on Ric Flair. I was still a kid. I didn't know too much about Ric Flair, but I cried. Like
Oh yeah. The
you could
the
feel the
the
emotion.
the whole I'm sorry.
Yeah, I love you. Oh my God! Like
Yeah.
tears.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I
Yeah,
know.
such emotion.
Yeah, and I mean, I grew up, watching Ric Flair in his
Mhm.
prime, and
Oh,
yeah, I've actually got an interesting Ric Flair story.
let me
Um,
hear it.
well, I was probably 14 or so,
Mhm.
and Gwinnett Place Mall, which is actually in the county that I live in, had just opened,
Mhm.
and my dad and I were in Gwinnett Place, just walking through the mall,
Yeah,
and Ric Flair in a three-piece suit with a woman on each arm
of
comes
course.
walking through the mall, wooing the whole 9 yards. He wasn't there for an appearance. I don't know why he was there,
He was
but
just
but he,
there.
he was just there.
He's Ric
And
Flair.
I mean he was gimmick 24/7.
Yeah,
I
I heard.
mean,
I heard he lived the character. Like I've heard there's no
yeah,
separation there.
no, Flair lived his gimmick to his own detriment, probably.
Yeah, yeah, lived it a little too much, but
Yeah.
he was on top of the world.
Oh, he was. I mean, to be the man, you've got to beat the man, and he was
Exactly,
the man.
exactly. Territory from territory. He was gonna be on
Yep.
top.
Yep. 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 So, do you have an all-time favorite match as a fan? A match that you could just watch and rewatch and just it never gets old.
TLC 2, Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, Dudley's
Hmm.
all-time favorite match. I loved it. WrestleMania 18, I believe.
Yeah.
Uh, just amazing match. The Dudleys are my favorite tag team of all time. Hardy Boys are right there because how do you not like the Hardy Boys?
Yeah.
Especially growing up my era, like huge Hardy Boys fan. And then Edge and Christian, goats in their
Oh,
own right.
yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Just
And those three teams had such good chemistry together.
yes,
I
yes.
mean,
It's insane. And then
um,
the TLC match, like they had one before, but
yeah.
they were also in it. So they basically had a clean slate. So we haven't seen TLC matches before. We didn't know what spots they could do and everything they could come up with. And it was just insane. Like how do you come up with all those spots? Like they're insane. But as a fan, it is so entertaining to watch.
Oh, absolutely.
And then
Absolutely.
you get outside pieces like Lita, Rhino, Spike Dudley running in, just adding to the story and Yeah, I love that match. I will still go back and watch it. I've seen it at least 20 times. Still go back and watch it.
Yep. Yep. Okay, speed round.
Okay.
Jake Roberts.
Ooh. DDT. Okay,
Yeah.
it's crazy to me how a DDT was a finisher back then.
Right.
Now a
And
DDT,
and now it's
somebody
just
hits.
a mid-match move.
Yes,
I
a move.
mean, it's
Like
a setup.
yes, if somebody got pinned off a DDT now, it's like, what was that supposed to happen? Like that's not right. It's
But I mean,
crazy
I
how that.
mean, I mean, he made the DDT look like it would just kill you.
Yes, and in theory it can because you're driving somebody's head into a mat.
Yeah.
That's gonna mess them up. That's a concussion or something. It 100% can be a finisher move, but when people kick out of it and kick out of it and it becomes a trend, it loses all
Right.
its mojo. It's not a finisher no more.
Right.
So
Right. And yeah,
that
yeah. You know, the thing I always liked about Jake's promos is
oh,
he never raised his voice.
no, he didn't
He
have
was
to.
very quiet,
Hmm.
but I mean, he could just project menace.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's what made it powerful. The fact he didn't
Yeah,
have to raise his voice. Like you were already intimidated just by his tone he was speaking in.
yeah,
Like I feel like that's what really makes the magic of his promo.
yeah, yeah. But so let's see here. So, do you have a dream opponent, either present day or past?
Oof. I have a lot.
Who would well, if you can name one or two, who would you love to work?
It's a tough question, but I'm gonna go Eddie Guerrero. You know, Eddie seemed like so much fun to work with, like top tier wrestling. But on top, his character work was amazing. Like, how can you cheat, lie, do all this, and still be a baby face? That's how likable Eddie Guerrero was. I feel like that is very hard to do. Like,
Hmm.
it it's hard to cheat and still be liked. So just his character work alone, like in the knowledge I would learn just from that match alone would be insane. That's one of the reasons I would pick Eddie Guerrero.
I'm looking over at the chat room on Instagram.
Mm.
My son actually commented that this makes him want to watch more wrestling.
You should, 100%. The more, the better.
Absolutely. So let's see here. Okay, well, you mentioned that you had encountered Matt Riddle and Chavo.
Yep.
Have you had a chance to meet any of your other heroes?
Okay, so I got to meet Sabu. Sabu is really up there for me. Like I
Oh
said, going
wow,
back to watch ECW, just
yeah,
the chair jump that he did, chair jump to the rope to the outside of the crowd, blew my mind as a kid. I'm like, oh my god, I love this guy. Like, so I got to meet Sabu. Sadly, have never met RVD. Like, he is still top of the list. Um, I have met a lot of cool people though, like Heath Slater. He comes to down to APW where I wrestle at. He's
hmm.
our world champion right now, actually. So I've got to meet him a couple times, and
I've
yeah,
heard he's a good. I've heard he's a good dude.
my God, he is so nice. Like I was standing next to him one time and we were just having full on conversation. Like he didn't know who I was, but
Yeah.
no, we just had a full on conversation. Yeah, really cool guy, really.
So this is a question that when I sent you the list of questions, you enjoyed this one, and that is what hurts right now.
As a wrestler, everything. Of course.
Yeah.
Early on, I still feel good. My body feels great. I do miss a lot of swantons though, so my back is, not in the best shape, but yeah, my back, if anything.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So, I want to talk to you about that guy wrestling.
Okay.
So, how did you get into doing podcasting?
Uh, Well, see, like I wasn't even big on like social media or anything. I started posting on TikTok, and that started blowing up a little bit to the point where Bleacher Report on Instagram,
Hmm.
they posted one of my TikToks,
Oh,
and
wow.
I just made an Instagram page. It had maybe like 20 followers on it, and then they tagged me in that, and I shot up to like 500 followers after that. So I'm like, okay, I need to capitalize on this. Started posting on there, and eventually the Instagram blew up. So I started focusing on other places, posting on YouTube and stuff like that. And everybody's got a podcast now.
Right.
Literally everybody has a podcast now, and it's a good thing because it spreads wrestling more. More people
Hmm.
talking about it, more people can see it. It just overall it's good for wrestling.
Oh, it is.
So I thought, why not? Might as
Yeah.
well get into it. So that's how that started.
So, how long has that been going on?
I'm really new into it. I'm still learning a lot. Like there's a lot of things I'm still growing upon. Uh, it's mainly on YouTube, but I'm still trying to actually do like a full on podcast, kind of like
Hmm.
this. You know, uh, so yeah, it's mainly on YouTube, like reactions and things like that, and,
Gotcha.
and then fully focusing on podcasting. Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, hopefully maybe down the road we can collaborate and
Oh,
and
I'd
you
love
know
that.
do some stuff together. That would
Yep,
be that would be a blast, man.
yep. You got to teach me
So,
how to do all this, man. I'm still new to it.
well, I mean, I'm still pretty new to it too. So, like I was telling you before we went live, I learn something new almost every time I do one of these. So,
That's a good
it's
thing, though. But I love the setup and everything. So like, yeah, you got to teach me a thing or two.
oh, absolutely, yeah. I'm actually looking forward to that, man.
Oh yeah, me
So,
too.
what are your thoughts in general on the state of the industry right now?
Like pro wrestling as a whole,
Yeah, yeah.
I business is booming. That's basically what I can say about it. Like I feel like wrestling right now is as hot as it was Attitude Era.
Mm-hmm.
But like Roman Reigns, like his whole title run, it started gaining mainstream attention. Like that's when you really know wrestling is back on its peak.
Yeah,
And especially like Logan Paul coming in. I know
yeah,
Logan is hated, not a lot of people like him, but the mainstream attention that he gets is huge for WWE and wrestling in a whole.
yeah.
So wrestling is on the come up right now. Hopefully it never comes down. I feel like WWE going to Netflix will also benefit a
That's going
lot.
to be huge.
Yes, yes, because a lot of people are on Netflix. Like I feel like not a lot of people watch live TV anymore. So the
Right.
fact that they're moving to the streaming, I feel like they can pick up a lot of new people, a lot of new fans can, or older fans that just stop wrestling, like watching wrestling.
Right.
They could come
Right.
back. So yeah,
And
it's
they the good thing about Netflix also is they can, you know, without going to complete extremes, they can be a little edgier and get away with it. Whereas on network television, you really
you
can't
can't
do
do much.
some of the stuff that you could
You,
probably do on Netflix.
you're very limited on cable TV.
Yeah.
Netflix, yeah, you like cussing. I feel like is going to increase a little bit more. Blood, I feel like could increase more. But the tricky part is you can't go too extreme because SmackDown is still on cable.
Right.
So,
Right.
if you're doing all this crazy stuff on Raw, why would I tune into SmackDown when it's just gonna be,
Right.
PG again? So
Right.
I feel like they gotta find a good balance in between the two.
I agree. I agree. I don't want to see things go back to the Monday Night Wars and the
Mhm.
Attitude Era and all that, because there was some great stuff, but there was also some unnecessary stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, I don't want to see them go back to a lot of the sexual stuff that was
yeah,
going on. I mean,
yeah.
that's just not my cup of tea personally. But
Well, and also in today's society, you can't like you
right,
literally you would
with
get canceled.
cancel culture and
Yes, yes, you
yeah,
would get canceled so fast. There is a fine line on the sexual you know, you can do on pro wrestling,
Right.
especially on a big network like WWE. So, it'd be interesting to see how they divide Raw and SmackDown. How crazy Raw is gonna get, opposed to, a SmackDown that's still on cable.
Right.
I'm interested to see how they do that.
I am too. But yeah, man. Like I was saying before we went live, man, it is a fun time to be a fan.
Oh
There's
yeah,
just so much cool stuff happening, and
there's so much wrestling.
it's almost hard to find time each week to watch it all. I
Yeah,
mean,
no, I
there's just
I try. Like, I feel like there's wrestling every day of the week. And then, you got your independent shows on the weekend. So there's so much wrestling right now. It's insane. If anybody is looking to get into pro wrestling that's not watching right now is the time, because there is something
mm-hmm.
for everybody. You got your WWE who's also become a more mainstream, more cool, getting that edge again. You also
Yeah,
have AEW if you're just into, good pro wrestling, maybe not storyline based, just good pro wrestling. You got the indies, you got GCW, who's more like they can be like an ECW esque, so you got
yeah,
that. You really have everything going on right now.
yeah.
It's
And then you've got New Japan and
yeah,
MLW.
yeah, there's so much. Like I'm not gonna say too much wrestling because there can never be too much wrestling, but
Right,
it's insane how much there is right now.
right. Speed round.
Okay.
Triple H.
Hall of Famer. I know,
Yeah.
I know it's not, I know it's not one word, but yeah, another person I really grew up watching and always looked up to. Like, I feel like everybody, and if they haven't, they're lying, hasn't tried the Triple H water spit. Everybody had to try it. Everybody. I've tried it a couple times. I still can't get it. It's
Yeah.
just little stuff like that he gets over. And like, DX, his singles run, they had another DX run. I grew up with the newer DX, which I know everybody hates on. It's not the old DX, I know. But like even that I loved. And then going back to watch my favorite Triple H match, Royal Rumble, I think 2000. He fought Cactus Jack. No
Mm-hmm.
holds barred.
Yep.
Oh my god. They did a pedigree on the thumbtacks. I believe he was still handcuffed. Cactus Jack was, so he took full face into thumbtacks, and I will never forget that.
Yeah.
Just an insane match. But yeah,
Yeah.
Triple H, he's up there for me.
Absolutely agree. And it's really been cool over the years seeing him, I guess, mature into the role that he now has.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, because Drew and I were talking about this last night. Back in the day when he was in ring active, he kind of had a reputation for being a politician backstage
yeah.
and burying people and that kind of
Yeah,
thing. And I think there's probably some nuggets of truth there,
I'm
but I
there.
mean, but it's probably been as a lot of things do in wrestling, it's probably been overblown.
Yeah, oh,
But
yeah,
I mean, for him to basically come from that reputation and over time redeem himself to the point that he's the point man in the industry
he's running
is
it now.
really cool.
Yeah,
And the fact that he's got his best friend, running NXT,
NXT.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
that's just so cool.
Who would have thought the two degenerates, back in
Yeah,
the Attitude Era, who was causing chaos, is now running
yeah,
everything? Like
I, I
it's
know.
insane. But they're both killing it. Like NXT is as hot as it's been since Black and Gold, I would say, and that's
Yeah.
saying a lot.
Oh
And
yeah.
WWE is on an apex right now. They are selling out everywhere. I don't care where they go, they're selling out.
Right.
It's
And I love the fact that they have basically strapped a rocket to Ethan Page's back,
yes,
because
immediate.
I thought he was, he had so much potential in AEW, but they never
Yeah,
did anything with him. And
no, he always seemed like a better fit for WWE to me because like
Yeah,
he focuses a lot on his character, and his promo is amazing. I love his promos. I feel like he was always tailored to be in WWE opposed to
yeah,
AEW.
yeah.
And you see right away he's been there for what, like, has he been there a month yet?
He's been there about a month and a half, and he's already NXT champion. I
Champion.
mean,
Yeah, like he's done more now by far than he did in AEW, and he was there for what, 2 years, 3 years?
yeah.
He was there for a
And
while.
and man, Joe Hendry is on fire.
Oh my god. He got his song trending like on actual
Yeah,
charts. Like that is insane.
yeah.
I was a lot of those views. I'm not gonna lie. His theme song is so catchy.
Oh, I mean, yeah, and what a talented guy.
Yes,
To be able to combine his musicianship with his wrestling is just
yes,
so darn cool. I
yes.
mean,
For everybody just finding out about Joe Hendry, I recommend you go on YouTube and look at his older like entrance music where he just makes fun of his opponents.
oh yeah.
It's so hilarious. I love it. He did one on Sabu that will never get out of my head. Like it is stuck there forever. So I highly recommend anybody new to Joe Hendry go check that out. Like
Well,
100%.
what I love are those entrances where he's mocking his opponent, and you're watching the opponent trying not to break character and laugh.
Yes, yes,
I mean,
yes. He did one on Scotty Too Hottie, and Scotty like smiling the whole time. He couldn't help it. I'd be the
yeah, I
same
mean,
way. I would be dying.
so Asher, you're a pretty young guy still.
Mhm.
But if knowing what you know at this point, if you could give any advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Trust the process because there's been a lot of ups, a lot of downs. I started at a different wrestling school. I started at Palmetto Palmetto Wrestling with Ethan Case.
Yeah, shout out to Ethan.
Yes, PWA. I loved my time at PWA. I was there for a couple months. I even came back and started training for a couple months again. Uh, Things kept coming up. I couldn't continue, and I thought my wrestling career was over, like before it even began. Honestly, until I found this place in Bowling Springs in APW. They trained me up. You know, got me to where I am now. But I thought about quitting. I thought about not pursuing another wrestling school. So just trust the process because it's not always going to be up. It's going to be a lot of downs, but you got to ride it through, and you'll finally come back up again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, do you have any advice for any other young people that are thinking about trying to break into the business?
Listen, the number one thing you can do in wrestling, I've learned, is listen. Like, you have a veteran in the locker room, listen. You got somebody trying to help you with your match, listen to them. You might have your own ideas and your own perspective on how to do things, but the veterans have done this. They know what gets over. They know everything that you don't. So why would you question them? Just listen. You can learn so much. Don't talk. Like you can sit there quiet. Just listen. Like I've seen it myself. Like younger wrestlers, like, same amount of time as me, have their own ideas and go over a veteran. Like just they'd rather have their ideas in the match than what somebody else wanted. And it's just like, why? They've done this. They know what they're doing. They're trying to help you out. Just listen to them. Simple
Why?
advice, but you'd be surprised how many people don't.
Wise words from a young guy.
thank,
That is really cool.
thank you.
Um, so, in your move set, do you have a favorite move that you just really enjoy doing, and do you have a move that you won't do? Like, I mean, I know a lot of places have, for instance, banned the vertebraker
Yes,
because too many people were getting hurt. But I mean, so do you have a favorite, and do you have one that you just won't do?
yes. And my move set, my finisher is a springboard code breaker, but
Oh,
it's not.
nice.
it's not springboarding like Cody Rhodes does his cutter. It's like
Hmm.
I bring them with me. I put one leg on it like a disaster kick
Hmm.
myself off, turn, and then code breaker. So like, it's pretty cool. I feel like not a lot of people do it. A move I wouldn't do. I feel like you read my mind because Vertebreaker was up there. Like doing it, I'd be too nervous to actually try it, and then somebody doing it to me, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
The thing about the vertebraker that I've always found scary is, you can't really see how your partner's positioned. You've just got to hope they're in there right, and,
yeah,
and just do it.
you
And
you hope their head's tucked and you got to
yeah.
go. Like it's a very scary move. It'd take a lot of convincing for me to do it.
Yeah.
100%. But yeah, that's a very scary move, but it looks really cool. Like if it's
Oh, it does.
done, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
It's just scary. It's just scary.
Yeah. I mean, because, yeah, I remember hearing about a couple people getting paralyzed as a result. And it's just,
Because if you don't have your head in the right way, you're going straight down. Like
yeah.
that's a legit move that could kill you. Like what
Yeah.
people say wrestling's fake all the time. You don't hit that move right, you can't call that fake. That's a hospital. That's paralyzed. Like that's some serious stuff.
Right. Right. But yeah, you just brought up the F word. Uh, that's the thing. Predetermined, absolutely.
Yes,
You,
a
you
hundred
know,
percent.
and working within parameters to keep things as safe as possible, absolutely.
Yes.
But fake, no. I mean,
No.
it's not everybody can walk out there and do that.
No.
I mean, I know I couldn't. I mean,
This stuff hurts. It's
yeah.
not a trampoline. It is literally wood and a canvas over it. It hurts. My first bump. I didn't think I could do this. I didn't like. I hit. All the breath came out of me. I worse than any football hit I've ever taken. It sucks. Over time, your body is used to it, but it always hurts. Like this is not fake. Nothing about this is fake. And when people say fake, I look at wrestling as like a movie. The movie isn't real. It's
Right.
actors and everything, but you buy into it. You watch it. You get into
Hmm.
the story. It's the same thing. The script's already written.
Yeah,
What's the difference? One's just live
exactly.
action. Same thing.
Exactly. Absolutely. So, something that I've done in all of my live streams, I've got a sister show that focuses on music, but
Okay.
one of the things that I always do is I let my current guest pose a question for the next guest. And so Drew Adler, who was on last night, posed a question for you,
Okay.
and so he basically said, "What is your why?" Meaning, what keeps you going in the business? Why do you keep doing wrestling? Well, what drives you?
It's just the passion for wrestling. If you watch as a fan, young fan, and then just growing up watching wrestling and now being able to actually do it. I remember the first time I stepped in the ring. I'll never forget that. Like my first day of training, I will never forget that. So just being able to get in the ring and come down that ramp and have fans wear my shirt, you don't know how much that means to me. Like I see people in the crowd with my shirt on. They'll have my trading card they got from my table. Like that means the world to me. And the fact that I can reach other people now, like I'm spreading my name out there, and more people can see me. More people can wear my shirts and everything. It means the world to me. Like it's a dream come true. That's my why.
That is awesome. The I just can't imagine what a rush it is like to be like a Seth Rollins, and you come out and the crowd is singing your your theme,
Yeah,
and the whole arena's echoing.
and, and
I mean
that's
that's got to just be just insanely wild. I
Yes, and
mean,
you got to think that is every city you go to as well. Like every
yeah,
arena, they're singing your song.
yeah,
I hopefully I get there one day, but yeah, the rush of that has got to be insane. It's a superpower, I told
absolutely.
you.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. So, do you have a question? My next wrestling guest is going to be next Tuesday,
Mhm.
or is it Tuesday? Yeah, it's Tuesday. I've got a wrestler named Book Hemingway. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So he's going to be coming on. So do you have a question you would like to pose to him?
Okay, yeah, yeah. If you could hold any belt in any era, what would it be? NWA, old school, new school, any belt, any era, what belt would it be?
That's a really cool question. What would your answer be?
I've always been a fan of the white strap intercontinental title. I thought it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And I thought the oval intercont I loved it. But when I saw that white strap intercontinental title, oh my God, I loved it. That'd be my pick.
Awesome, awesome. So we're getting toward the end of this now, Asher. Do you have any upcoming shows or anything you would like to hype?
I'm at Asylum Pro Wrestling, Bowling Springs, South Carolina, basically every Friday. Defending my belt. I'm a fighting champion. Every week. Uh, no upcoming events. I do have a show coming up in North Carolina, NAWA Wrestling War Games. I'm not in War Games. I got a match against Luke Fury. We're gonna tear the house down, but later on, main event, War Games. It's gonna be a dope show. I'm looking forward to it.
Nice, nice. So who are you defending against tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, I actually have a triple threat: Nate Burnham, Logan Quindell, and of course myself. So big match, triple threat. This is my second triple threat, second defense, second triple threat.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice. Well,
odds are
best of
stacked.
luck. Yeah,
Thank
yeah. I was going to
you.
say the odds are stacked against you, but
Yes, sir.
you
Yes,
know,
sir.
best of luck.
Thank you, man. I'm gonna need it.
Are any of those shows available on the web?
We're trying to get on YouTube. We just got a YouTube going, so we're trying to post. We do have a cameraman, a different YouTube account, Slayer Arc on YouTube, I believe. He posts all individual matches. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, a bunch of my matches are on there.
Well, very cool. Well, for everybody that's been watching this live, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
For everybody that's going to be watching this on replays, thank you for that as well. If you like what we're doing here, continue to spread the word. This whole thing is really starting to take on a life of its own, and I'm absolutely having a blast doing it. And thank you for your time, Asher.
Oh,
This has been an absolute blast. I love just sitting down and just talking about this stuff and just nerding out about
yeah.
wrestling
Oh, it's,
with.
like, it's so much fun. Like this is the stuff I talk about just on my daily life, with friends and everything. So the fact that I get to come on a podcast and do it, like I love this stuff, man. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. So anyway, have a great rest of your night, and I'll be in touch in the next day or so as I get the edits done and get
Okay.
the audio edited together into the podcast. I'll be sending you links and such.
All right.
So
Sounds good.
anyway, we'll go ahead and